Hey, it's Gualtieri, producer for the band Rotorheads, and you're listening to their new single, Wait a Million Years. It's actually a cover song by a band called The Grassroots from back in 1969, and it's out now, available for you to listen on all platforms. So what I thought I'd do today is actually run you through the production of this song. The idea was to actually capture that live, playful, energetic feeling the band has when you see them on stage. So let's take a look to see what we did. We started off recording the band as an ensemble without using a click track. All the instruments, except the drums, were recorded DI as scratch takes to minimize leakage into the drum mics. The goal here was to see if we could recreate that on-stage energy the band is known for while recording keeper tracks for the drums. It worked great, but it took a few tries before everyone in the band started to relax and really let loose. For the drum mics, on the inside of the kick, I used a Beta 52A that went into an SSL VHD Plus mic pre, and then into an EQ, and then into an 1176. And on the outside of the drum, I used a Royer ribbon mic, the R121. That also went into an SSL VHD Plus, into an EQ, and then I actually took that one to an EL8 distressor after that. The snare drum was just mic'd on the top with an SM7B. I needed a cloud lifter for that guy. That went into a 1073 pre, and also the 1073 EQ, and then finally into an 1176. And each one of the toms had an MD421 on it. Those were fed into a Persona Studio channel. The Studio channel's got a pre and a mic pre, compressor, and EQ. It's pretty cool. A hi-hat, put a KM184 on that. The ride had a KSM, a short KSM 137. For the overhead, I used the AEA R88 stereo ribbon mic. Really, really great mic to capture all that high-end energy and just capture the drum set as a whole. And finally, for the crash, I used another one of those Shure KSM 137s on the crash. Once we had all the drum tracks down, we overdubbed the guitars, bass, keys, and vocals. Since the drum tracks were recorded without a click, we knew there would be a few instances where some of the hits wouldn't line up, but nothing a little creative editing couldn't handle. Also, the musicians, to help them get into that live mode and kind of recreate that passion that went into the scratch performance. They wore headphones during the tracking with the volume cranked way up. I thought it was going to blow their eardrums out. I also thought about adding some crowd noise in there, but decided that was maybe a little over the top. We still got the job done, and it came out great. For Alyssa's lead vocals, I used a U87, fed into a 1073 pre, then a 1073 EQ. Then that went into an 1176 with a really fast attack and release, trying to capture that initial transient and tame that a little bit, and then finally into an LA2A. For Mike's guitar tracks, he actually used a customized Les Paul into a Marshall 100 watt JCM 900 amp. I think it had EL34 power tubes and 12AX pre-tubes. It sounded incredible. On the cabinet, I used an SM57 combined with an R121 ribbon. So SM57 try to capture a little more of the high end. The R121 give it a little more warmth. That fed into an SSL VHD pre, then into an SSL VHD EQ, and finally into a distressor. No DI for the guitar. For Rich's bass, no DI there as well. Actually, his Ampeg cabinet, we mic'd that with a Beta 52A and an SM57. We're trying to get that high, bright sound of the amp. Rich really likes that sound, and I like it too. And I think it's kind of one of the signature sounds of his bass. I fed those into a Persona's pre-tube and then finally into an EL8 distressor. And on John's keys, I did a stereo recording. Actually went right out of his Roland Phantom 06 into a couple DI boxes, the Radio J48s, and then into the SSL VHDs again. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward on the keys. Mixing was all done in the box with Pro Tools. I'm a big fan of in-the-box mixing. I love the ease of automation to create, a dynamic mix, and the ability to use plugins to quickly create interesting, temporal and spatial effects. And the big carrot for me is having the option to leave the mix a few days to work on something else and then pick up right where you left off. Well, I hope that gave you an idea of what went into the production for Wait a Million Years by the Rotorheads. If you want to listen to the entire song, I put some links in the description below. See you next time.